Now there is.
Okay. At this time, we will call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee DeBoer,
Here.
Truttschel,
Here.
Pfeiffer,
Here.
President Vanderstill,
Here.
Trustee Walschlager,
Here.
Tanner,
Here.
Hallquist.
Here.
If you'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Trustee Truttschel.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anybody that would like to speak in public comments, please feel free to step towards the podium and speak. Do we have anybody on Zoom? We have no one on Zoom, so I'll turn it back to the room. Anybody? All right, seeing that we don't have any public comments, we'll move to our first order of business, which is a consideration of the village board minutes from the October 9th, 2023 meeting.
Also move. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the village board minutes from the October 9th meeting. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we're going to move on to items related to vouchers. First, we have an approval of a closeout change order for reduction of $21,702 to the contract with DF Tomasini Contractors to reflect actual quantities installed. Original contract price was $230,902. Modified contract price is $209,200. Contractor's application for payment in the amount of $5,772.55.
All right, so DF Tomasini, as you stated, is looking for a closeout of the 2023 utility project. It reflects a reduction in a closeout payment. So the $230,902, it was for extra concrete work and curb work that was supposed to be done next to catch basins and manholes. They got the repairs done and they didn't have to redo the concrete. So that is where you're going to see a reduction of $21,702.00. And then also in this is for a payment, closeout payment to close out the project. Staff is recommending a closeout payment to DF Tomasini Incorporated for the sum of $5,772.55.
I'll make a motion that we approve the payment to DF Tomasini for $5,772.55.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve that payment for 5772.55. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. The next item we have is Contractor's application for the payment to Zenith Tech, Inc. in the amount of $247,592.15.
So again, Zenith Incorporated is looking for payment for the wing walls and the grading and the ADA path in Hartbrook Park for the bridge. We will hold a retainage of $7,373.42. So staff is recommending the payment of $247,592.15 to Zenith Tech Incorporated.
I'll make a motion to approve payment to Zenith Tech in the amount of $247,592.15.
A second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the payment to Zenith Tech, Inc. for $247,592.15. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. With those items being completed, now we have consideration of vouchers for payments in the amount of $426,853.29.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers in the amount of $426,853.29.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the vouchers for payment in the amount of $426,853.29. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have our licenses and permits that we move on to. We have bartender operators licenses for Robert Gonya, Bonnie Kohler, and Shannon Stadler.
Make a motion to approve as read.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the list of bartenders for operators licenses. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. Those licenses will be granted. Now we have a public hearing on the proposed 2024 village budget, including the general fund, water and sewer utility funds, debt service, and all other revenue and expenditure funds, with consideration of adoption of the budget at the November 13th, 2023 Village Board meeting. At this time, I'll open that public hearing for anybody that does want to speak. Anybody on Zoom?
Nobody on Zoom.
Last call for anyone in the room that would like to speak
Hold
on.
on, John, Jim, Enrique. He's joined.
Public hearing still open. Do you want to speak on Zoom, sir?
No, I'm not here to speak.
Okay. We will close the public hearing at this time. The next item on the agenda is discussion regarding the proposed 2023 village budget. This is village board, administration, finance, elections, municipal building, inspection, cable TV, other funds, general fund revenues, and debt service.
All right, this is my fun part of the presentation that I haven't gotten to yet. So I know I'm not sure if everybody does or doesn't have their budget. Well, that's not going to let me open up. So since you guys last met with all of the department heads, we have had some items change. We've gotten pretty much all of our revenues. Everything is increased for there. Our levy limit increase allowable is $129,353. The way it's currently looking, I told President Fanner still today with our equalized and assessed value, it looks like we will have a tax rate of under $4, which last time we had that was probably 16 years ago. Again, that doesn't mean people's taxes are going down. It just means value went up and we equalized out, so the tax rate is decreased. So again, it's about a 32% decrease from last year with most of that. So I'm not sure if people have their budget or not, but the items that we're going to talk about on it are the village board, which is tab 4, page 1. Really here, this is just board member salaries and conferences that any board members attend. We're showing a 0.8% increase for that. The next one is tab 4, page 3, which is administration. We have a budget of $377,900. The majority of the increase there is our legal services have been about $145,000 a year versus a budget of $100,000, so that increase we're budgeting for next year. Previous years, we've been around that $145,000 amount, so we put it up to that actual dollar amount. Everything else within general administration is similar to previous years. The only difference would be a family health plan now. With finance, finance budget looks to be up. If you're seeing it, it's up about $185,000, but that is actually decreased now because what I've done is ran an approximate about a 4% on average raise for all staff. So we have about a $32,000 increase compared to prior years. And that increase is just associated with outside services. Our insurances are significantly down, but even with the 4%, we do have contingency, and they're of about $42,000. Any questions on finance? Am I going too fast, too slow?
You said it went up. Is that because of interest rates?
The budget? No, the contingency that's still sitting in there after running the 4% through. Did you talk about elections, Sandy, previously? Do you want to talk about elections real quick? So the 2023 budget, as I'm just going to talk for you, the 2023 budget was $7,000. The 2024 budget for elections is $20,400. So that's an increase of $13,000, and I'll have Sandy explain why as far as what elections we have.
So in 2024, there are 4 elections. Of course, the presidential primary in April and the general election in November. High amount of absentee ballots for both of those elections, requiring a lot of envelopes and postage, and also staff coming in and helping us temporarily for those elections.
So every other year, we have a higher budget. In 2025, that budget will go back down because there will be less elections, but with the presidential, that'll be a big one for that. Tab 5, page 3, municipal building. This is the salaries and the HVAC, the buildings and grounds, everything associated to keep our municipal building going well. We're showing a decrease of about $1,500 in that budget for 2024. Next one is tab 9. It's building inspection. Our building inspection, the expenditures are decreasing approximately $35,000, and that's from our building inspector. He anticipates permit revenue to be significantly down with the high cost for building and running out of real estate. But again, if the quarry project moves forward, we will get that inspection revenue, but that will take time. But yeah, most subdivisions are coming down, and if you recall, the inspector gets 70% of the permit fees, the village gets 30%. The next budget after that we have would be tab 18, which is our cable TV. This is Ben's department. That budget is staying very similar, going down about $675, but the majority of the costs there are the salaries associated with cable TV, which is $6,000 per year. Then we have $5,000 of outside services and operating supplies items that we purchase. Next, you guys talked about water, you talked about sewer, correct? Okay, those two are good. Our refuse and recycling, so I'm showing no rate increase for next year, staying at the $190. That's going well, the $190. We're going to give it another year and see how it goes, but it appears to be a good rate for now, and it's not negative, so that's positive.
Someday maybe we'll have to get new cans, but other than that, we're fine.
No, the green is beautiful. The next three that I'm going to talk about quick are TIF 4, TIF 5, and TIF 6. TIF 4, we moved that $430,000. TIF 6 purchased, we made them quote-unquote purchase land from TIF 6. So that TIF will now be positive and will run out and close before the end of the TIF district. At the end of 2024, we're looking about a negative $38,000 balance, and it used to be about $400,000. So that's a positive.
What's the anticipated year of closure?
Huh?
Anticipated time of closure?
I would say 3 more years, 2027. TIF 5 is actually, it has a $0 fund balance. The developer has been paid back. That TIF will be closing early next year and coming off the books and going onto the tax roll. That is the Culver's TIF, so that was a positive TIF. Closed 10 to 15 years early, so that will be closing. And then TIF 6 is the Riverwalk development. That's showing a negative balance of about 1.3 million, but again, that still has 16, 17 years to accumulate increment to pay off. So that was the $1.2 million that the developer receives in the MRO and $700,000 upfront. So
What are they paying about right now per year? What increment are we getting per year?
$172,600, and we pay the developer 90% of that currently until they're paid off.
And then once that 90% is done.
100% will go to the village to pay off the negative fund balance.
Yep.
Yep. Impact fee fund, that's our impact fee. We have a balance in there of about $700,000 to $800,000. If you recall, I know I've said it many times, the library, the DPW, the police, and the fire, currently those impact fees go to pay off debt. That's how we've kept our debt down for the addition to the library, for the police garage addition, for the DPW salt shed, and Survive Alive House at the fire department. We're currently doing an impact fee study that we'll be bringing forward to the board to change those fees. You should do that every 10 years, and that's about where we are. Our dental fund, we're self-funded. We have a positive fund balance in that of about $260,000. So that's just the maximum amount of claims that we could have in a year. If everybody maxed out, would be 225. So it's a healthy fund balance in there, but it's self-funded. Debt service, I'm not going to touch a lot on. We talked at we had a June meeting where we came up with what the debt is, and I think, did you talk about the CIP? No? Well, if you recall, we met about all the projects coming up. That's tab 27 of the budget. That's what'll lead to the borrowing. So that'll be October 30th, next Monday. That's when we'll talk about the debt issue. So the debt issue will probably increase our debt levy probably around $200,000 for 2024 since we'll have a borrowing. We do that every 2 years. Capital projects you guys did talk about.
What's our current percentage of debt?
It's dropped significantly because we can borrow up to 5% of our equalized value, and our equalized value has shot up recently, so that number just keeps going up and up on what we can borrow, and we haven't. So we're probably around 20%. Corp reserve fund, did everyone talk about what their corp reserve purchases are? Okay, so you guys talked about that. The only other thing I want to talk about are revenues. As you guys recall, we're going to have that Act 12 revenue that we'll be getting. That's at $250,802. That'll go to fund some raises in the fire department and some additional bodies, the 2 people in the fire department. Our transportation aid is up about $20,000. Our library aid's up about $40,000. Our interest income is up 500%. We're making interest rate of about 5 to 5.5% on all of our investments. So currently, last year we got $35,000 of interest income. This year will be probably $250,000. So that's a huge increase. But I know that was quick and in a nutshell. But anybody have questions or anything you want me to go over? Anything you feel we missed?
I don't think anything was missed. I do want to touch on, and I know it's kind of turned into a broken record, but I'll say it anyways. But on TIF, with that TIF 5, I mean, obviously that's great that that's going to be closing. So what is that, 15 years early?
Yeah, 13 years short of
13 years early. That's great. So, and what was done with TIF 4, obviously TIF 6 was given property in the value of around $400,000 and some odd $1,000. That property then was rightly, the expense was left with TIF 4, and if I'm not mistaken, I think TIF 4 was going to close in like 2034 at about $350,000 shortfall, which means the village has to pay it. So by doing the proper, what I think are proper changes, by making those changes, TIF 4 is now in a situation where it will be closing in 3 years. That increment will be paid off, so that will close. And TIF 6 is on pace to close on time without the village taxpayer having to pay more like they would have had to with TIF 4 in 2034. So those are some really good things and some really good steps in the right direction for what this board has done by making all that happen. So I think that's good for the public to know and for everybody to always remember that there's some good things that were done by getting that hammered out.
And again, I would just say if any of you have questions, we have the approval on November 13th. We can go in things further detail, but any questions, reach out to any department head or myself and we can help explain it.
Discussion anybody wants to have on what was just presented? All right. We'll move on to items that were referred from the October 16th Plan Commission meeting. The Village Board has its first reading and review of Quick Trip, a proposed PUD development project whose approval and rezoning are being sought by Quick Trip on property tax key HAV 0730950 located at Highway 83 and West Capitol Drive.
Should say the Village Board.
What'd you say?
This should say the Village Board.
The Village Board will review. Proposed preliminary site and building plans, all of these things were included in the packet, but proposed preliminary certified survey map, proposed rezoning to B2 in conjunction with a PUD agreement for the project, proposed petition for the planned unit development.
There's more in the back.
Also proposed land use amendment and resolution, and lastly, consideration of setting a date for a public hearing of November 27th, 2023.
So essentially tonight is just the first reading, look over the materials. There will be we're hoping that you guys will set a public hearing for November 27th in regard to this, where we would have the village attorney, Quick Trip, everyone here to answer questions and answer any of your questions. I know 3 of you have seen this on the Plan Commission, so if you have any questions, build them for public hearing, but the only action tonight would be to set a public hearing if you choose to do so.
Do you have any questions on that information?
No, I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for November 13th.
27th.
Oh, 27th, I'm sorry.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to set the public hearing for November 27th, 2023. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Obviously, if anybody has any questions on that project, feel free to reach out to the village. Now we have a discussion and possible consideration of a memorandum of understanding for Waukesha County Sheriff's Department Computer Forensics Laboratory. Chief?
Good evening. This is just a pretty straightforward MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department for use of their computer forensics lab. This is something that we've had used and had full access to for about the last 5 years. It's all types of different computer hardware and software, along with some licensing costs that we have full access to. We can go download phones, computers, plot cell phone information, all kinds of very expensive hardware, software, equipment that in this day and age is part of almost every case we do. So this is just basically what we've operated on verbally. They just wanted to put this into writing because they have some other agencies jumping online, and they felt that, when I say they, the Sheriff's Department felt that they should put something in writing that we agree upon. This was given to our village attorney to review. They have reviewed it and found nothing to be out of line. They felt that it was a very reasonable agreement. Basically just says that we'll make sure we're trained on the equipment that we're using, that we'll use it, how we say we're supposed to use it, and how we're trained to use it, and that if we damage anything, that we would be responsible for that. So it's all pretty common sense, straightforward stuff. This is also part of what we use our major investigation unit, or that MIU. Some of the dues that we collect with that unit, we put towards some of these licensing costs. Because as you can imagine, this stuff never gets cheaper. It continues to go up and up. And they have you on that yearly licensing costs, as well as upgrading hardware and software and licensing, and the costs add up fast. So it's just a good collaboration with our county partners to bring a needed technology product to law enforcement in a cost-effective way. And you will notice they wanted just me to sign it, but that's obviously I'm not a binding MOU signature, so that's why I bring it in front of the board for their full review. And if approved, the village president would sign them.
So everybody's already trained on doing this.
Not everybody. We have, actually, now Lieutenant Jewell was sent through and he has the training, so he has actual card access, 24/7 access. He doesn't have to call and have someone meet him. He can badge right into this lab and do any type of forensics on computers, cell phones. So he has all that training. Once we backfill his position, we'll start training a second position in that. But in the time being, he still has full access to go down there at any time.
Yep, I'll make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding for the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department Computer Forensic Laboratory.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the memorandum of understanding for the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department Computer Forensics Laboratory. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have a discussion and possible consideration of the bids nomination of Christine Shute to the bid board.
This was presented to me when I was at the bid meeting, and they've been having a hard time finding someone to take over and part of their bid board. So this person was brought forward and unanimously voted by the bid. So in order to make it go forward, you guys would need to approve or deny this nomination.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid nomination of Christine, is it Shute?
I believe so.
To the bid board.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve Christine Shute to the bid board. Any discussion?
Quick question. It says that they're 3-year terms, and this says expire, am I looking at this wrong? Expires in 2024?
You're looking at it correct. She took over someone's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vacant seat.
Okay. I just want to clarify that. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have announcements.
We've got a quick recruitment update. We interviewed 5 candidates for our part-time admin assistant position last week. We have moved one of those candidates on to the background phase, so Detective Hoffa is completing her background investigation as we speak. And we're hopeful to move forward with that particular candidate, who does join us with over 5 years of law enforcement admin assistant experience. So it'd be should be able to hit the ground running for us if everything works out, which it looks like it should. And as we speak, we're actually doing 5 interviews of candidates for police officer up at the police department. And the candidates that are successful in this staff interview phase will move on to our PFC interviews at their next meeting on November 14th. And then finally, I just wanted to let the board know, with our SCIT, or our SWAT team, they have that TRG group, that's that technology resource group. We've implemented that in the last couple of years. They had observed Kayla Nelson from Hartland Police Department in her capacity in that role in that with that TRG group, and actually asked her to become a team leader with that group. So she's been added to the SWAT team leadership as part of the TRG group. So that was pretty cool to see them quickly recognize her skill set and her leadership ability, and then put her into place in that role. That's all I got.
Good evening. On Saturday the 14th, we had our pancake breakfast. Rainy day for most of the day, but we had 470 people served that day. About 17 less than the year previous, so it turned out very well. Again, Flight for Life dissed us because of the rain, but we understand, so, but otherwise it was very successful.
Awesome.
I want to give an update on Nixon Park, which everybody wants to hear about. Nixon Park was paved last Thursday. They put the speed bumps in on Friday, and then they came in on Saturday to stripe it. They striped the parking stalls, the ADA stalls, the stop bars. Staff today put the stop signs in. We are starting to put the blocks in for the parking stalls so they don't continue through the grass to slow the vehicles down. And we are meeting with the paving crew tomorrow who did the paving. We have a couple repairs that they have to do on the paths. There's some, we call them bird baths, a few spots that hold water. They're gonna have to heat them up and add some material so we can get the water to run off, because we do not wanna open it up, and if there's water in it, it's gonna freeze in the winter, and we wanna get rid of that situation now. So we're hoping that the park will be open by this weekend.
Did that grass take? I know it's announcements, but did that grass take?
It's starting to along the roads and the path. We did fence off the new playground equipment because we already had to repair it twice. It just doesn't seem like we can keep people off, so we're gonna keep it fenced off for a while.
Just have one more quick update. Chief Chambers joins us tonight on his birthday, so happy birthday to
Happy birthday,
Chief Chambers.
Who brought cake?
Happy birthday, Chief.
Somebody run to Piggly Wiggly. Happy birthday, Chief.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I'm gonna run through a few announcements quick, unless anybody has some more. No? Trick or treating will be on October 31st, Halloween, from 6 to 8. Business trick or treat is Thursday, the 26th of October, and that runs from 6 to 8 as well. Holiday train is coming to Hartland again. That is on December 4th at approximately 5:30. Hartland Lights is on December 1st, and that is from 6 to 9. The tree will light up at around 6. And keep an eye out for all the different businesses around the whole village doing things. I do believe there are some business, I don't believe, I know there's businesses even outside of just downtown that are doing stuff, so hopefully all of them get supported. The village always does a fantastic job with that. Coach, help me with the name. Why am I? Coach Taraska from Arrowhead passed away unexpectedly in an auto accident last weekend, before this past weekend. And am I right on that?
Yes.
Yes. There's all kinds of stuff on Facebook and stuff like that. I don't have all the details right in front of me, but I do know that this past weekend at the game in McWanago, that they did have a moment of silence for him, and here in the village we did. All the lights went red. We did it here at the village. Thank you very much, Dave Faulkner, for grabbing the bulbs to be able to do that. I know that he was a very influential person to this entire community and touched a lot of students and a lot of athletes. So obviously our prayers will be with his family and everybody that's hurting from that. But those services will be at Arrowhead at the stadium on Sunday. I don't know the exact time. People would have to take a look online. I don't have any other announcements, other than, Chief, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Is it 46?
Yep, that's it.
Awesome. Happy birthday. Anybody else have announcements?
Well, yeah, I don't know if this is to public knowledge, but I'd like to thank Ryan for Hartland bond rating. That's very good. I talked to an accountant, and that's the third best, right?
Yeah, we ask them every year. Our equalized value needed to do what it did to jump up, so we have a rating call with them early November with the debt issue, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
So congratulations.
What did we go to? What did we go to?
No, double A2.
Good. Any other announcements? Rick, anything you want to throw in on what's going on downtown for the trick or treating? Is there anything that? Okay.
I'm passing out candy.
Cool, cool. I guess with that, if there are any other announcements? If there are no other announcements, then obviously after a slight break, pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.85, Section 1, subsection C, upon a motion duly made, may convene in a closed session for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Namely, to review the report prepared by 5 Bugle Training and Consulting LLC and strategic plan related to the Hartland Fire Department. So that would, it does take a roll call vote to go into closed session, and then after, we'll touch base with fire to figure out how exactly what the process is that we'll go through here.
So I'd make a motion that we move into closed session.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to go into closed session. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Trustee DeBoer? Yay. Do I say yay? Truttschel?
Yay.
Pfeiffer?
Yay.
President Vanderstel?
Yes.
Walschlager?
Yes.
Connor?
Yes.
Paulquist?
Yes.
That approves going into closed session, so we'll take a brief break, and then we'll go into closed session. We were just in closed session to talk about a fire study that was done. Small part of it was a investigatory on something that was simply an anonymous letter that the village found. Bruce, do you mind if you could speak into the microphone? Just it was just stated to us that it was unfounded, but if you could just touch on that letter, that it was unfounded.
Sure. The charges that were alleged in the letter as they were presented, I can't substantiate them through my investigation. So, yeah.
The second thing, and Bruce, you could stay right there if you don't mind. I just want to touch on that, and very briefly, though the fire study was done, and the fire department is running, it sounds like the fire department's running well. Calls are getting, at least first calls are getting answered in a good amount of time, but we need more people in suits at the firehouse.
Yep, the fire department is functioning. They're responding to calls. Call volume is up. And that fact, along with the hiring challenges throughout the workforce today, are going to be the future challenges that the Hartland Fire Department is going to be facing in the future. So, but the study and the investigation did reveal that outside of, I guess what I would say, nominal dynamics that occur in any fire department, whether it's a volunteer combination or full-time, Hartland's experiencing similar experiences as other departments, but nothing pointed to any type of dysfunctional management or workplace environment.
Mind just touching on what you think will help? I know you've said it to us, but just for the public, that you believe a strategic plan will help get us to where we want to go.
Part of what came up in some of the discussions is if the fire department would have a plan, and traditionally in businesses it's called a strategic plan, and that is a 3 to 5 year strategic plan for the Hartland Fire Department would give direction, would provide input from the community to see how the Hartland Fire Department can best serve the community, what its strengths, weaknesses, opportunities are out there, and it is the bedrock for where the fire department wants to be in 3 to 5 years. And looking at a number of different resources, different situations, different influences, internal and external stakeholders, the fire department and the village will figure out where they want to be in 3 to 5 years, and then this will be the roadmap to get them there, which the fire chief, in working with the village manager and the board, would use with a benchmarks along the way to ensure progress to get to where you want to be at that time.
Anybody on the board have anything for Bruce?
I'm fine. I just want to thank you for the report. It did bring some clarification, and it opened up the opportunity for strategic planning, which I think is a necessity.
I agree. It's a great platform to start from, and gives us some guidance on, as a board, how we should proceed in partnership with our fire department.
I do want to say thank you to the fire department for not only being so cooperative throughout all this, but also for coming to us to let us know, hey, there's things that need to be looked into. I hope that we have your respect because we did look into them, and we want to try and make it the best that we can make it. Make the fire department the best that it can be moving forward. One thing I'd like to see this board do is, at the very least, accept the, Bruce, did you get a final number on if it was just the, did we get a final number? Did we hit the number that we had budgeted? I believe we were at under. So we came in just under, but I would like to see us accept the fire report and the findings for the investigation portion of the report.
Yeah, I'll make a motion then to accept the report from 5 Bugle Training and Consultants and the results of the report as presented tonight.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the reports and the findings that were presented by 5 Bugle to us tonight. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. The only other thing, no one has to make a motion on it, but if someone wanted to make a motion that they wanted to see the strategic plan that we are going to do that. If someone wanted to make a motion and say they want to do the strategic plan and they want 5 Bugles to be the people that help us, whatever, a person could make the motion, but because it relates to this, a person could make that motion. We could, that's what someone could bring up right now. Or what Trustee Walshager said is, don't we have to send it out and get 3 quotes? It's,
We have to do that for other things, and I thought that was just part of the rules for us.
No, we don't have to do that. That's something the board has wanted with certain things, but no, there's numerous things. Like this is $8,000. The needed would be for paving or contractors over 25,000. It's a
Okay.
state requirement.
Okay.
but that doesn't mean that Trustee
Yeah.
Walshager, that does not mean a trustee could not say, hey, I still think we need to do that.
I would like to make a motion that we do move forward with a 5
Bugle.
5 Bugle. I was gonna say 5 alarm. 5 Bugle and Bruce as
Chili.
being the company that would help facilitate the strategic plan. With your familiarity with Hartland's Fire Department, your knowledge, it's gonna be a real asset to this process.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to move forward with a strategic plan.
Not exceed
I was gonna throw that in.
$8,000.
for the-
Second. Yeah.
It's been moved and seconded to move forward with a strategic plan and that it would be a contract with 5 Bugle and that the not to exceed amount before you would have to come back to this board would be $8,000. Discussion.
I think it's a great idea for a couple of things. You've already, he knows Hartland, but just by doing this report here, as he stated, he's already collected some of the things he needs for the strategic plan, so that will help expedite it. And obviously, as the chief has said and Walker, that we need people, so the sooner we can get a strategic plan in place, the sooner we can start implementing it and getting the results we need.
Well, and plus, both of them would love to work with him anyway, so they just
Right.
stated that, so.
Bruce, you had stated to us, but we were enclosed, so I'm just saying now, you felt that you would be able to complete or get through the beginning stages of for the 8,000?
I would anticipate we'd be able to complete the entire project in first quarter '24.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Any other motions someone would want to make that relate to this, they could make at this time.
If I could just make one final comment, I just want to say that coming into the department under the type of anonymous letter that, it's stressful, okay? And to have somebody from the outside coming in, it's stressful. And everybody I dealt with on the Hartland Fire Department were very professional. They made me feel welcome under the circumstances. It was just a very enjoyable experience working with them to do this. I've been in places where there's an antagonistic right away when you come in. That was not the case here at all. So the chief and them wanted to get the air cleared, and they weren't afraid to say anything. So I thank you and the department for that.
Thank you. I still have to take the vote. Oh, we did. Okay. Oh, he just wanted to say that. Well, with that, unless someone else has a motion that's related, go ahead.
Motion that we adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This meeting's adjourned.